I'm just looking a bit crazy, rubbing charcoal on these cheeses I made about a week ago. This is a total experiment. I've never done it before. I'm not sure if the method is right at all. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. I've followed a basic rennet curd recipe, and rather than pressing the cheeses as I've done with the harder cheeses, I've just drained them in a basket, like a cheese mold. Then they've been salted already, and they've been out for about a week, and pretty dry to the touch. They're a bit damp, but not wet or anything. And then James and I made this charcoal, again, a way that we hadn't really thought of before, but by just taking some similar sized prunings from a crabapple tree that we've got just out the back of the house, and cut them into kind of 4-inch lengths, wrapped them in tin foil and put them in our wood stove a couple of nights ago, and then just ground them up into a fine powder, and I've just sieved them on. My main concern is that I think it's still pretty grainy, like it's not the most fine surface. So I'm not sure what the rind would actually be like on this to actually eat. Whereas I think if I bought what's called veg ash or cheese ash, it'd be really fine powder. I might be wrong. It might kind of soak in somehow. The action of the charcoal, other than looking really cool, especially with goat's cheese because it's really white from the white milk. Obviously the charcoal is very black. Other than looking really cool, the idea, I think, historically was they would use ash, and that ash would protect from flies, microbes, anything from the outside kind of ruining the cheese. What's quite interesting is when James and I think about when you might use charcoal for soil health and in the garden, people talk about it as an amazing habitat for microbes and things because of its large surface area, so it can really help to kind of add that into your soil. So it's quite interesting to think about what that might be doing on the surface of the cheese if we had a microscope. I think it'd be very cool after it's developed a little while. I guess whatever does develop on the rind will kind of be living amongst not only the curds of the cheese, but all of these tiny little chunks of charcoal on the surface. So yeah, watch this space. We'll see what happens. Could be awful. They could be really grainy and not develop well, but they also could be delicious. So I think if they work well, we'll definitely be making more of these.
And when will they be ready?
Yeah, I think, again, I can't be sure, but I think I'm going to watch how they develop, obviously. But I think 2 weeks at the fastest and 2 months probably at the slowest. So I'm just going to have to see. It's cold right now, so the cheese cave is really cold. I just have no idea. I haven't been making many of these types of cheeses. I've been making a lot of pressed cheeses, been making like Gorgonzola style cheese and Tom and things like this that are pressed and then aged for many months. So I'm a bit out of practice actually of these slightly more squishy, quicker aging ones. I always found if I made a batch of these that we couldn't get through them quick enough before they passed their best. So I've preferred to make larger, harder cheeses that last longer. I really want to get back into making these, especially with the charcoal, because I think we've got a lot of potential variations we could make. The type of charcoal, the type of cheese that's covered in the charcoal. You can put the charcoal and a layer in the middle of the cheese. I think that's Morbier. So this is the beginning of an experiment, but we thought it might be quite nice to show you what we were doing. the cheese cave.